Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm rising to speak against this bill.
Please proceed.
Mr. Mr. Speaker, what this bill does is severely restrict the tax credits that would be available for your average homeowner to put in photovoltaic systems. It moves it from a per system to a single tax map credit for 1 TMK. This means that if a family has maybe 5 children, 6 children, and they have more roof space because of the need of that family, they would get 1 tax credit for that photovoltaic system on their roof, where they would really be putting in possibly 2 or 3 systems. What it does is stops people from going ahead, leaves it available for the millionaire homeowner. But your homeowner that could stretch a little bit and be able to put in a photovoltaic system under this bill, they no longer will be able to do that. Let me tell you a little bit about the impact that this could have. By the year 2010, a couple of years ago, 4,336 renewable energy systems were installed statewide under this program, the Utilities Net Energy Metering and Schedule Q program. And that growth is huge when you stop to think about that. Huge both in that the solar and photovoltaic industries are one of our largest and fastest growing systems within the state. This means good paying jobs for local people. This bill is a job killer. It's going to, stop dead in its tracks the increase of the use of photovoltaic systems. Now, maybe some companies misuse the system, but the companies that I have talked to, your credible mainstream companies, were doing this not to gain a tax credit. They were doing it because that project legitimately required more than 1 system to make it run and to make it be effective. And if we do this as a job killer, it's even larger than that, because what it does is it slows down our progress to get off of fossil fuel. Earlier in debate during this session, I talked about the article titled "Oil's Tipping Point Has Passed," and I'd like to just refer briefly to a comment that the authors made, James Murray and David King. And I will quote again: "Governments that fail to plan for the decline in fossil fuel production will be faced with potentially major blows to their economies even before rising sea levels flood their coasts or crops begin to fail catastrophically." And then they say, "The solutions are not secret or mysterious. They include redirecting tax credits toward renewable energy development, among other things." And instead, with this bill, we're ignoring that wise advice, and we're taking away the tax credit that your average family may be able to use to be able to put up photovoltaic. And we're leaving the single TMK tax credit for the millionaires that are saying, we can put it in, it doesn't matter. The tax credit's not really relevant to us. So I am very sorry to see this bill move forward. I know it was proposed by the majority leader, but that doesn't mean we have to pass it. And I would ask people to rethink their vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any further discussion? Representative Ching.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in opposition.
Please proceed in opposition.
And I ask that the words of the representative of Kailua be entered as my own.
So ordered.
And I wanted to read from some testimony by a company by Sunetric. Darren Nakamura said this. And Sunetric employs 140 employees here on Oahu, Maui, Big Island. And that being said, they oppose this. For while they are aware that this bill seeks to address concerns among public officials and members of the public regarding the use of renewable energy technologies income tax credit, the solar industry has grown up around the current system as implemented in various forms of guidance provided by the Department of Taxation. For the residential customer, the change envisioned by House Bill 2417 is too abrupt, will disrupt the market to a significant degree. In the commercial market, the change will undermine utility scale projects that have been in development for as much as 5 years and rarely less than 3 years, and that have financing assumptions based on project-specific letter rulings. It's not good for our residents. It's not good for business. We're one of the only states in the entire United States that has geothermal, that has solar, that has wind, and has wave. Yet, our people suffer the highest rates in the nation. And this affects our rating for business. We are second from the last in business, according to Forbes. According to Forbes, only Maine is more onerous to do business. And so when we're looking at revenue producing, how do we pay for roads? How do we pay for things? We must consider the whole and how our actions affect everything. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Representative Takai.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in opposition.
Please proceed in opposition.
Thank you. And I do appreciate the words of the representative from Kailua. In fact, after we last had this conversation on second reading, I took a look at the measure a little further, and she's absolutely right. The most problematic piece of this legislation right now is the TMK, or the tax map key. That provision is actually a job killer. I'll give you one example, and there are many more. But what this bill says is that if you should choose to sell your house after putting up a PV, the next owner cannot take a tax credit even if the owner wants to add or put more photovoltaic panels on the house. And I don't think that's right. The other thing is that there are some places in our state that have one tax map key for a number of different residences. I'm pretty sure, Mr. Speaker, you're very familiar with it in your area. We do have some in IAEA, and that's problematic because with this bill, every single person in that one TMK, and it may include as many as, in some cases, I think there's like 50 houses in one TMK in IAEA. That means only one person can take advantage of this $7,000 tax break, and everybody else, unfortunately, can't. However, I'm going to say this, and I hope people understand it. I don't think that when we set up this tax credit, we ever anticipated people putting up multiple systems and taking multiple credits when they put up these systems. What's happening right now is wrong, and we need to fix it. What's happening is it's a $5,000 tax credit per system, according to the HRS. And companies out there are creating systems with an S, on homes. Some as many as 4 systems, and they're taking 4 separate tax credits. That type of abuse has to end. And I don't know whether we create a phased-down percentage or whether we stick to describing a system in law so that there is no ambiguity, but something must be done to address that particular problem. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Representative Ward, followed by Representative Chong.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise in opposition.
Please proceed in opposition.
Speaker, I think we have to look at a little bit of history in trying to get solar water heating, not even sophisticated PV on the roof. For 25 years, we had a number of incentives, and guess what percentage that we actually had install solar water heater? About 25, maybe 27%. So with the incentives in place, we still couldn't get people to heat their water by the roof. Now with PV, We are just now starting to climb with the green jobs, just starting to get the consciousness that you can go PV, and we'll incentivize it. I know a lot of the people are going to stand up likely shortly to say that, you know, this is a $40 million proposition. Well, look at the amount of money that we ship out in terms of petroleum, $5 billion plus per year. So penny wise and pound foolish, if we say, let's cut it off while it's growing, while the stock is growing the fastest, cut them down. Mr. Speaker, I say eventually we have to do this, but now let the industry flourish. Let it blossom. Let it rise up. Get that stuff on the roof. This is what Hawaii does best. This is what my colleague from Lilia says. Play to your strengths. Do what you got best. We got sun that blesses us, except for this Super Tuesday dark day and storm that we're going through. But this is what we do best. We should be the national leaders and the world leaders in PV, and this is a goose to get us going, and why stop it now? It's penny wise, it's pound foolish, it's untimely. Let the industry grow, and then let's clamp it down, but not now. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much. Representative Chong.